Because it's fall, I'm already noticing as soon as the weather even barely changed, just got a little bit of rain, all of a sudden I'm kind of a fall person. So I then end up listening to some of my favorite sad music and looking up the lyrics of Japanese anime stuff. But it's something that I was sitting back and I was like, no, because you need to kind of face something. And it's like, yeah, most of this fight for the republic and political future, there's clearly kind of this understanding of no, there's definitely people that their mentality is that the past has to be always wrong. It's always about novelty. And now what's interesting is that this is, young people, childish-minded people, artists. You find this a lot with liberal women, and thinking that novelty, there's some incredible depth to novelty. And even this idea of, like, the average man wants new woman all the time. And it's like, but divorce is a woman's game. Men actually have almost nothing at all to gain from marriage evolutionarily. They should just fuck everything. But that's not good. It doesn't work. It doesn't preserve society. So men were bred by women to stay with a partner, especially with Christian breeding morality. So this idea of novelty, and how great novelty always is I think actually more of a woman thing. That it really does come from just simply having a mind that's more like a child. That which is new. There's more, dopamine. It's a dopamine hit. That comes up a lot when discussing. And so we even see it then when women cheat and talk about it on social media. They're always trying to figure out a way that they could kind of bamboozle the man into taking blame for her cheating, and then that because she doesn't want it to end, because the security that you see, she just wanted a taste of novelty, and she knows she's going to get caught or did get caught, or that's the type of person she is. There's recently a viral video of one of those where the guy kind of asked that kind of funny quasi-trick question that then a drunk girl with her man, says something right off the boom. It just comes out of her mouth. And it's like, and all of a sudden he's like looking like a chump. Turns out his girlfriend would do anything for, $100. He's just like sitting there finding this out, looking like a chump on. And so one guy, he literally broke up with her right there and then thanked the dude for doing this, because he's like, I would have never known that she was that kind of person if you hadn't been here on the strip asking these questions on social media, and you exposed this girl, and now I'm never going to have anything to do with her again. It was pretty based. It was pretty dope. And so I started to think about more and more of this thing with, because this is also novelty with sex partners. See, most men, because of risk aversion, well, they don't want to lose what they got, and so it's only guys who think that they can get more, and really in some way they're pretty assured they can. They're the ones who are going to go for that novelty, because and also they're probably a guy who is not risk averse. He takes risks. So the next thing beyond that is, well, then who are these men who, are having all this sex, and women really think they know men are really like that? Gay men. The stats show gay men and quote unquote bisexual men or gay men, because if you have sex with a man, you're gay. Like Ice-T said, that they actually are not something. They're actually bizarrely likely to take extremely high risks when it comes to intimate partnerships, and to the point where, I mean, it's like uniquely so. Like they break all the statistical, like there's no group of men no group of straight men who can touch the risky behavior patterns sexually of gay men, and then what it comes from, their local clinics and all the stuff from Planned Parenthood and all that data, which I used to enter on 10 key, that just buttresses all of this. So something I started to think about with this, there won't, okay, the childish West Coast liberal mind, it doesn't matter. Stability and all that doesn't really matter to them. They don't really, they just kind of presume it just comes along. And a big part of it is they don't involve themselves with people who really like are truly crazy criminal people. Like they most of them don't ever have anything to do with people like that, so they don't really know what motivates them. They don't get bad guys. So their understanding of toxic masculinity, this phrase, this is they're putting criminals in with guys who lift weights at the gym, because they don't understand that these are the guy who doesn't commit crime, actually his brain functions differently, very likely, than the man who commits not just crime, but over and over and over again. Because they cannot face this. A big part of it is because of their own motivations scaring them. It freaks them out. What they realize, what really motivates me? Well, self-interest, having a good time. They can't really, they know they can't nail down 10 things, like, 10 aphorisms. Let's call them the 10 great aphorisms, of what would, I know I'm a liberal and we think good things that are different than what other people think because, and then they have the 10 aphorisms. Well, they don't really have these, because that would be a set of rules, and rules get old, and being a liberal is about being childish and loving novelty. That's one of the flaws, the character flaws intrinsic to them. So it will never matter that they'll always say, well, there is no reason to have a fixed morality. So you're just unprincipled. See, they won't like that, because that's, of course, how you say that. And you find the childish mind, the effeminate mind, the liberal mind, the person who, there was even a guy I couldn't even believe I had to go along with Dr. Umar Johnson when he was having this talk with this one guy, and the way that the dude, he totally weaseled out of what he was saying. I mean, it was so bad. It was just like, no, you're just trying to not say this serious. You're just trying to act like what you're saying doesn't mean you agree, and you actually totally agree, and you've just said it, and you've just admitted that. And everyone gets that. You're going to say otherwise because, no, I used this word. That wasn't the same word. He said blah blah, and it's like, this wasn't even a setup to make him agree to a phrase like the left typically will try to do. They'll be like, is it choice A, you're a Nazi, or choice B, you just hate all the Jews? It's like that kind of thing. And you only have so many choices here. And it's like, of course, at that point you go, well, no. I mean, of course, you're of an inferior intellect, so I guess to you that makes sense. And you go straight there. You always insult them. Because they're not your friend. You always go from zero to pointing out, no, you have a defective intellect, and or you're just being dishonest, or this is an issue of that you don't know what you're talking about, so you are trying to be aggressive in some way. You find this one a lot with the YouTube shit libs, and so this love of novelty, it really hit me that I'm like, yeah. So in the long run, it's not until consistent horrible things happen to these people that they're going to finally be like, oh, the junky homeless cray guys with face tats, they might not all just be lost souls who need a handout. They might actually be people who you should shoo away from children, women, and everybody else, and never allow them to pop a tent any place, anywhere, at any time. And you might and watch them, like openly watch them when they're doing things in stores. Just openly have somebody following them around, like openly. That will work. That kind of behavior will work, but that won't happen for a long time. Now, one of the things that people are going to say is, well, but what are you going to do? Nobody can afford a home because there's not enough homes. This is something very interesting that's come up. By the technical numbers, America has the homes. The houses technically exist for every American citizen who is an adult. It would be a pretty close number, but the houses exist. There's just a lot of them that are simply not on the market. The person who owns it doesn't have to put it on the market. They don't have to rent it. It's not like some law that you have to rent your empty house. No. So the houses exist. There is no real housing crisis. But why aren't the houses on the market? Local areas have to have a certain tax income from houses. If your house is not even on the market, it's not even up for rent, well, then the law might protect you. That it's just a residence, so it's taxed at a certain amount based on square footage, right? But if it's a rental, well, a rental might get taxed at a higher rate per square foot. So you just take the rental off the market. And housing crisis is created because the house is there. It's just not being rented. So that's where people are getting this wrong. A big part of it, the taxes that these cities are collecting on the houses. But you like your amenities. You like your public library. Your teachers need their money. Joni loves Chachi. So you're going to have to figure something out because that's the hustle. Why rent your house if it's only going to cost you more taxes? And if you just take the house off the market for rent, then you don't have to worry about it. And nobody fucks your house up. All you've got to worry about is that the city is going to try to pass some rule about, it needs to have residents and and this and that, because they're starting to, there's a housing crisis, But note, no politicians are telling you about the money end of this. They need those taxes from property because they promise too many people too much money. And it's not theirs. It's your money. And so there's that kind of thing. Somebody would say, well, a system that embedded, that ingrained, how could it ever collapse? Oh, we're going to probably find out.